10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck, studio.
4, 9, 7, 400.
Darling, it's the Shy Life podcast.
You won't find a cast of characters like this everywhere.
Hello, Paul.
I'll go anywhere for a potato.
Delicious.
This particular episode of The Shy Life is a little more abstract than usual. Okay, looks like the hairy guy is ready to record. 3, 2, 1.
Go Shy Yeti.
Oh, I hope he hasn't found out my secret. I think he has.
Hello listeners, it's me, Cuthbert the Robot. I just wanted to send you all my very best wishes as we begin our first episode of the new year. We didn't know this show was going to be our New Year's special edition when we recorded it in December, but it's a fun one with our dear friend Jay the Hunt Cub. It's also very silly, which is the best way to start a new year, we think. I'll hand over to Paul now, and he'll tell you some more before the show properly begins. Have a very merry 2022. Lots of love from me and the whole Shy Life podcast team. Kiss. Kiss. Kiss! Exclamation.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Shy Life podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti. How are you doing? I'm all right. Yes. So what are we up to this episode? Well, we've got a special guest, a very special guest. It's Jay the Horn Cub. He's here. Hi, Jay. How are you doing?
Hey, well, first let me say Santa Ha.
Oh.
But I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, yes. Listeners who don't know, he's been watching Doctor Who. We'll come back to that later. Yes, I'm good, yes. We've got a fun-packed show planned for, so it's a good thing you turned up because, yes, you'll be the perfect perfect sidekick for a lot of what's going on. So Let me run the theme music, and when we come back, we'll get started. Run that theme music.
It's time for my old buddy, old pal from across the channel, across the pond, Paul Chandler, the Shy Yeti.
He's not that shy. Oh, it's the Shy Life podcast. Yeah.
All I wanted was a pie.
And then I hatched out of an egg. Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
It's the quiet ones you've got to watch, you know.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep? Is it deep?
Boy, he's not all that shy, is right.
Blimey, Governor. It's the Shy Life podcast.
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for it to begin.
It's the Shy Life podcast.
He's positively glowing.
It's all gooey and meaty and yum, 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 yum.
And we're back. So, Jay, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, yes, I'm not too bad. We're recording just before, week or so before Christmas, and it's already far too much. You know me.
I know you're not a massive fan of the season.
No, it's just, I was watching an episode. I got a little bit behind on watching Neighbours, and I don't watch it when it's broadcast. I watch it on like on the Channel 5 app. So you still have to have the adverts. So that's literally the only thing I watch where I have to see Christmas adverts. But I think I counted 22 adverts in a 20-minute program. Most of them before it starts, but then another block in the middle of the episode. And I'd quite like, had I been able to have got, not had to watch so many adverts, I probably would have got through 3 or 4 episodes. But I was just like, oh no, I'm just going to watch one a day. That's too much. It's too much. If it's not being all saccharine and kind of, picture postcard Christmas, it's sort of people having a massive Christmas party with like 30 people in a room, and I start to get sort of COVID angst and kind of like, you shouldn't be doing that. What are you doing? So one way or another, everything annoys me. So
I love the ones where the husband is presenting a wife with a surprise Lexus or luxury automobile. Like, that happens every day here.
Yeah. I mean, even when we were kids, we might have got a bike or something. We might have got a big present, but totally never spent like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds or thousands of pounds on presents. Yeah, I think that's fine when you live in your little bubble or whatever your family does. You don't want to sit on TV or see how many more presents this fictional family get. You don't actually know if that's real, so you don't know whether to be jealous or not, or jealous of the fictional Christmas family, or whether everybody is like that and it's just you who only gets an orange at Christmas.
Yeah, right.
Jay, I don't know whether how much you probably haven't heard that much about it, but we've been having trouble with vampires around here. The listeners will know by now. It's all to do with Cromity's yoga group. It has a number of vampires in the group. It's something we're trying to deal with, and we are dealing with, and so it's not so much that I wanted to mention it. It's actually I was just thinking back, because when we in an episode I've just released, I wasn't sure what the collective noun for vampires was. So it's gone from scary horror to English literature or English language, but I think I refer to them as a coven of. Only because I was kind of being slightly jokey about, you've got a coven of witches. What would it be, a coven of vampires? Well, I actually Googled it, and apparently there's no definitive, but there's quite a lot of suggestions. They say that a group of vampires is either a clutch, a brood, a pack, or a clan, and also. Coven has been used as a collective noun for vampires. Now, unless they've listened to my episode and now it changed their website, which I doubt, I don't feel that was such a bad guess. A house of vampires is also a suggestion. But so we may have a coven of vampires around here. We're just not sure what to do with it. But listeners will have heard some of what we've been going through. But I don't want to.
At least they're keeping fit.
Well, yes. I mean, the first thing that Cromity knew about it was that he recognised one of them because it was a vampire he'd gone out with 25 years ago, and she looked exactly the same as she had back then. So, yeah.
So, are the classes all at night?
Well, thing is, I think vampires have adapted. So, one way or another, it's hard to know, whether there are more vampires in the group now because they've been converting people. Since the winter, there have been a lot more. Ick mentioned that he'd heard people possibly exercising, but then we weren't quite sure what that might mean, because there's lots of different forms of exercise. But so yes, I think there's an inner circle of this yoga group. So I just don't know. Vampires, I think, have adapted, so it might be that they can be seen at dusk or in the day with the right sunglasses on. Yeah, but
it's unfortunate.
Yeah, we've got a lot to learn, and at the moment they haven't been seen, but we're kind of keeping clear of the area. The trouble is they exercise quite close to the Magpie Hut. That's something that Yeti Uncle John usually deals with, but we all take turns. But anyway, so yes, whilst I was thinking of it, I thought I'd just let the listeners know about what our collective group of vampires is. Looks like I hit the nail on the head, at least partially. I've got a little quiz. Well, it's not really a quiz. It's a call my bluff type thing, which I'm going to see if you can get the answer to a few of these.
Okay.
So it's going to be, I give you a word, and I give you three options as to what that word means, and you have to guess. And we did do this on one of the catch-up episodes with the regulars, but this is a lot more simple. There's no weird anecdotes. But, so the first word is, this is where I have the problem though. I have to pronounce the word. Hagiology. Hagiology.
Okay.
Does that word mean a study of saints, or a study of witches, or a system used when determining the physical strength of animals? Do you think?
You know what? I feel like I've heard that word before. I mean, not in any kind of regular use, but it just sounds familiar. But I still have no idea. I don't think it's the third one.
No.
Saints. What was the second one? Witches.
Witches.
Well, I know sometimes witches are called hags, which would make me wonder if that's where the first part of the word came from. But I don't know if that's too on the nose or whether that's. I mean, my first inclination is to go with A, but yeah, I'll stick with A, I guess. Saints.
You should stick there and stay there because you're right. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
We'll do a couple more, and I'll probably save the rest for end of the episode after the title stuff. But we'll do a couple more because I've got some surprises for the regulars coming up for you. So, so the next word is nappyform. That's NAPIFORM. So is it something that's shaped like a nappy? Is it something that is able to fit inside a circle? Or is it something that's shaped like a turnip?
Oh, my God. I don't think it's the first one. I'm going to go with B. It's inside a circle.
I think I would have gone for that. But actually, it's something that's shaped like a turnip. You wouldn't think that there would be. Wouldn't you just say turnip shaped?
Right. Exactly. I wouldn't have thought anything would have that specific of a definition.
Yeah. Well, so we'll do one more for now. Okay. The next word is Gigong. GIGONG. Is that a name for an acupuncturist needle, a type of Chinese meditational exercise, or an ancient type of spear?
Oh Lord. I mean, this is going to be just a complete guess.
Yeah.
Let's go with A, acupuncture.
It isn't, I'm afraid, but it is a Chinese meditational exercise. I think I would have gone for the needle as well. But we'll keep some. The next word I'm not looking forward to pronouncing, so it's a good thing I'm not drinking during the show because I don't think I could pronounce it now, let alone at the end of the show. But
right. Well, you can always just spell it, not even try to pronounce it. That's up to you.
Jay, I know in a minute you're going to ask me something about some questions, or at least a question about the UK. But before we do, I think it's probably time that I shared a Sutton Park clip, or if we can't find one of those, we'll put a Callum quiz, one or t'other. But yes. So coming up next, a Sutton Park clip from the 1990s.
We came to a huge circular door, without hesitation or force, and made for some of the smaller doors. Jet and I followed the men who had been at the rear of the column. When the door for which they were heading was reached, one of the men opened it. He and his 3 companions went inside. Jet and I followed, then stopped in surprise.
There is nothing what we can do, except wait until we recover. Yes, we shall recover. Then we shall return to Birmingham. It'll give us more time anyway, Gavin. It'll give us more time to work out what we should do.
Yes, it is a good idea. But George Person, have you not understood? Who warned Paul? No, not who warned Paul, but who warned the blacky whitey people that we were doing plan? They did not know it was us, or we would be in trouble by now. But someone had told them that something nasty was going to happen. Who could it have been? I do not understand.
I don't know. It could be that there's some sort of double agent or double spy involved or something. Maybe one of the nursing staff at this clinic is a spy. I don't know. Quick, be quiet. Here comes one of the nursing sisters. We must be careful.
Meanwhile, in some foreign country somewhere, Graham has landed in his plane, but it was not a good journey. The plane did not land safely, and Graham is very ill after the journey. A nurse comes to see him. Lordy, goody, hoody, 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 hello, are you not well? Hello, you're not well, are you not? Do not worry. Lay on your bedspread. That's your nice cushion. Do not worry. I shall go and get some food for you. Would you like mixed yak's brain? Mixed yak's brain, or would you like? Oh no, your fingers, are they broken? Would you like mixed yak's brain, or would you like sort of regurgitated elk, or look, you're obviously not very comfortable, so I'll go and get you something to sit with your feet. You'll get cold. Don't worry, you won't have to stay in this country too long. The journalists won't find you here. You'll be all right, my love. I'll go and get you something for your feet to keep you warm, and then I'll get you some regurgitated yak milk, okay? Oh, Scotty Birdie, hello. He's got some slippers. Oh, yes, nice slippers. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, he'll like these ones. That'll keep his feet nice and warm, like. Oh, he'll be so happy, won't he? Well, it was just great that you were there at the time, I must say. I was very pleased.
That's all right.
Yes, it's fine. Well, I'm also glad to be able to tell you that they said back in White, he said they might come back with me to Birmingham. This was very useful. We thought we'd like to. Probably the best thing. You'll probably hang around. Well, if I can't be tomorrow, that's when I'm going. Finishing packing. Oh, I've got a message. Do you mind if I play a message to the viewers? I've got the message from Kerry. We may get to see him after all. I think he's coming back. Possibly.
Paul, it's Kerry.
Hello, Kerry. Oh, you take recording.
Things are reasonably back to normal. I hope you weren't worried about my last message. I managed to sort things out then.
That was the message when, something a bit odd happened. But I've seen him since then, so he's still okay as far as I know. Yeah. Go on.
We need to do something about this.
We need to do, yes, well, we're going back.
Can meet up at Birmingham.
Yeah, meet up. I'm going back.
And do something.
We will.
Stop these fuckers.
I beg your part. That's... Oh, dear. He hasn't cleaned his language up at all. Hello?
Can I have some suggestion, please? Yeah.
Oh, well. That's the end of the message, basically. I don't know who that other person was at the end of the message, but there you go. Well, that's about it. All packed and ready to go back. Well, not ready, but, as ready as I'll be. Well, viewers, next time you see me, I shall be in Birmingham. It's been interesting down here. Still as busy as ever. What I must do, one of the main priorities when I get back is to work out the voodoo, what was going on with that. Horner has a theory that there was definitely some link between the New Year celebrations and all those extra voodoo dolls that were being made. So had that business at New Year actually gone on, had it succeeded with Backup, then nasty feeling that it would have had something to do with voodoo. But obviously, with my extra wish that I had, that I managed to avert that. Obviously, as I say, I remember very little about the whole thing, but... well, that's it for now. I shall see you soon. Ah, yes, Clive.
It's 3:24 p.m.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's a big move.
3:24 p.m.
It's a big move for all of us, Clive. Paul's going back, and we're going with him. We've got to stick together. We're a group. We're a battle force. It's a new beginning, Clive. A new beginning. The beginning of something far more dangerous. Far more dangerous than anything Paul has encountered so far.
It's 5 p.m.
You're not looking forward to it? Well, neither am I, Clive, neither am I. It could be the death of us all. And so, Paul's journey back up to Birmingham for his last 6 months near Sutton Park is on its way. Paul is leaving. He'll be facing many more terrors, many more adventures. Let's hope he gets through them.
Hi viewers, hi, how are you? Well, I have moved in. It is a new era of Sutton Park. I'm here, you're here, and goodness knows what else is going to happen in the next 6 months. I got used to this room as well. I'm not sure if Kerry's actually coming back. I heard that he might be. Anyway, I've got used to both rooms. Gonna have to make my first visit to Sutton Park pretty soon, I would think. But I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. Anyway, I better go and see if Horn has arrived. He's coming via the cupboards, the network. Yeah, amongst the cupboards. Yeah. I shall go and see if he's coming, if he's here.
Hello viewers. How are you? Gosh, I wish I hadn't agreed to come through those wardrobes. All blocked up with Christmas presents and things. Christmas presents that no one wanted.
Hello Ben.
Yeah.
Hello Clive.
It's 5:29 p.m.
Good. Good baby one again. Oh, right. Well, no sign of Paul. Oh well, I suppose it's up to me to talk to you then. How are you? Okay? See, Paul's got the room nicely sorted out. Oh, well, let's just hope things in Sutton Park aren't quite as terrible as usual, but I have a nasty feeling they will be. In fact, I know they will be. It's obvious. We'll probably all get killed. Isn't that wonderful?
Hi viewers. Yes. How are you? Well, I trust. Yes. So we haven't got the mirror that we had over there before. That picture is there instead. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to talk to you. Well, at least I can move around the room and talk to you, and it should be interesting-ish. Yes. Not very nice weather out there, I must say. It's rather windy. Anyway, I'm all packed and moved in. Got my posters up on my wall. Horner's making some food downstairs. Probably scared the landlord to death. No sign of Kerry yet. No sign of Kerry. But I expect I shall get myself sorted out tomorrow. Go to university, see a few people, see if they've heard anything from him. That's basically it there for now then. I shall probably talk to you tomorrow. Until then, good night.
Ah, viewers, 'tis I, Katrina. I thought it was time that I spoke with you. The one named Paul and his foolish friends are elsewhere. But I have plans for Paul. A trap waiting in Sutton Park. I have a trap. It will not kill him. In fact, if he's clever enough, he will return alive. But it is a game which I will find immensely enjoyable. Yes, a trap waits for him in Sutton Park. A trap which may blow his mind, which could be quite painful. It is only a matter of time before Paul heads to the park. And I shall be waiting.
Meanwhile, as Katrina is busying her plans, Paul is already on his way to Sutton Park. Along with Horner, he plans to explore the old territory to see exactly what has happened during his absence.
Paul! There, come over here! Come, quick! Come on! We've been here long enough, we've got to get out of here.
Did I find you, Horner? Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, I've scouted around. Despite the fact that they're supposed to know we're here, no sign of it yet. I've got the voodoo cube. We'll have to do some more experiments with it, aren't we? It's getting late. What are we going to do now then?
Well, probably best if you get out of the park now. Take the cube back with you. Get back home. We left it rather late in the day to come here. We ought to come back here sometime next week, later in the week. We need to really plan things out though. I'm going to stay here a little bit longer though. I'm going to hang around, see if I can contact any of my old friends, see what the rumours are about me, see if anyone realises that I'm still, well, I'm still working with you. Is that alright? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll head out then. Yes, alright. I'll see you later.
Yeah, see you, Horner. Good luck.
What was that? Paul? Paul! I heard something. Paul? The trap is set. It is time. It is time.
And we're back. There we go. I hope that was a very exciting clip. I won't know until I edit the episode. We're not that well organised. So, Jay, your question about the UK, or UK-related question, what were you going to ask me?
Yes, so it's not really about the UK, but I'm curious. You know how so many UK actors wind up coming over to the States and being in big blockbusters and things like that. I was curious as to whether you feel like there's any actors that you've lost interest in or feel like they went a little too big star / Hollywood on you that used to find more interesting. And the reason I ask this is because I used to really like the Peg Frost duo, from Shaun of the Dead and Spaced, and what's the one in the Village where they're the cops? It's escaping my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz.
Yes, Hot Fuzz. But Simon Pegg got so big and came over to the States and is in Star Trek and all kinds of things. I don't think he's any worse of an actor or anything like that. But I kind of felt like I enjoyed them much more when they were a less known treasure than they are now.
Yeah, and also if you don't, because isn't he also in Simon Pegg in the Mission Impossible?
Yes.
And I'm not massively that excited about watching Mission Impossible or the Star Trek movies, to be honest. So I've kind of lost track a bit of what he's definitely a good example where I kind of preferred when he was sort of doing original stuff rather than being in franchises of shows that aren't top of my list. But I'm
right.
We've also talked about how his co-star from Space, Jessica Stevenson, is probably the most talented out of those people, or certainly as talented. She was in Spaced and wrote Spaced and was an equal partner in Spaced, and then, but her career hasn't quite gone down the same route. Although she is, I would think I would, in a way, I would prefer her career because I think she has done things that have been successful over here.
Yeah,
and I think she could probably get away with doing something really serious as well, in a way, or something really good came up. She could probably adapt, and she probably has. I just haven't seen it in a way that people probably wouldn't even think of casting Simon Pegg, because he's known for comedy or action or
right.
So yeah, it's hard to know whether her, just because she hasn't gone to be in blockbusters in America, she might have done better staying here and being in things, and might potentially still, end up being sort of like one of those people like Judi Dench or something in the future, where
right, or Helen Mirren.
Yeah, but it's funny with some of the, and it's funny, slightly going off the point. It's funny with some of these actresses who maybe I was introduced to them in the middle of their careers. Somebody exactly like Judi Dench in the 80s, I would have said, she was just somebody on sitcoms.
Right.
I didn't know that she'd had, at that point, she'd probably was quite happy doing those sorts of shows, but because she'd already done lots of good work that I had no idea about, a lot of it on stage. And so until I found out more about her, when suddenly she was starting to be in really high profile things, I was thinking, she's jumped from being on a sitcom to being, well, no, stupid Paul. She was already, but you could have, as a child,
yes.
pre Wikipedia, she was just one of those people who, quite a lot of people like that, like Richard Briers, who from The Good Life, and he did a lot of sitcoms, but he was somebody who did Shakespeare and was highly regarded. And there are those actors who didn't necessarily leave the country, but sort of did do stuff which you would have said was quite throwaway at the time. Although, I mean, are sitcoms throwaway or not? I mean, people still love going back to them. So they may have been, in the same way as Doctor Who wasn't made to be being watched 60 years later, or 60 years. But people are still watching old black and white episodes of Doctor Who. So
it's not quite far back as that, but I'm wondering if a lot of people did like what we did, where that Call Me Kat show had come on here last year. And then I found out it was basically executive produced by Miranda Hart, who I knew from other things. And I knew she had done the show Miranda, but I had never seen it. I had only seen her as like a co-star on other shows. And we happened to find that after not liking Call Me Kat, we found Miranda, and then and it's unusual. Like, Ron has I don't want to say strange taste, but we don't always have the same taste in humor. Like, I like dumber stuff than he does, but he was very much enamored of that show as well. So we discovered that because we didn't like the American version of the show.
Yeah. I've been watching. Do you like Rick and Morty? I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, because I kind of seen some of it, but then when I've been over at a friend's house, he showed me more, and then I decided this year, for one of my Christmas presents, I asked Nick to get me season 5, which I don't think is only on any streaming services at the moment, but it has been released on DVD. So I thought, I'll watch something which is ahead of the which is ahead of the streaming. Probably only for 2 weeks or something, but yeah. I mean, going back to your original question about actors, the one I think of that who isn't an actor, but is somebody who was on TV a lot, is Kat Deely, the TV presenter, who Deely was named after. One minute she's on Saturday morning TV, and then I think I probably wasn't even aware for quite a while. Probably because I was doing things, or wasn't watching. Maybe I was dating somebody, or I wasn't in the same place I had been on a Saturday morning. So I sort of lost track that she was no longer over here, and then you sort of realise, she is doing. She didn't just go off and leave TV. She went to America and became famous over there, doing the same sort of things she'd done over here. But
I mean, certainly we see it with musicians all the time. You know, they get big in the UK and then they wind up coming to the States or living here half the time or things like that.
So I'm going to hand you over to Cromitty, who has a little surprise.
Okay.
I'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
Hello, Jay. It's me, Cromitty. How are you?
Hi, Cromitty. How are you? I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good. Me too. I'm here especially, I know we have been promising for a long time now to introduce you to some actual dinosaurs. We know that is something that you really want to do. I cannot promise you the time travel thing. It's all a bit dangerous, and we're worried about losing you in the past.
Right.
But what it is possible to do now is to present you with. This is due to your long service on the Shy Life podcast and in podcasting in general. We're sure you must be some big anniversary or something we don't know. But we can present you, and with my scientific knowledge, I can present you with a virtual reality dinosaur, which you can keep in your house as a member of your family. But
nice.
So
I like that.
Yes. Well, what we thought we'd do, but it's maybe talk a little about some of the possible dinosaurs that. Because, maybe the T-Rex would be a bit too big, but there are probably other ones that that you might want to consider first. For instance, have you ever considered having an Allosaurus as a pet? I don't know how much you know about an Allosaurus. Its name means a different lizard.
Yes.
It is a carnivore, of course, but it would only be a virtual reality carnivore, so it wouldn't eat you or anybody that you is near and dear to you. The Allosaurus, it lived in the late Jurassic period. That was it's sort of that's just before the Cretaceous period, but about 150 to 155 million years ago. So about the time the Big Fatty was first came on the Earth.
Oh yeah.
It's the other dinosaurs that were around at the same time were the Diplodocus and the Stegosaurus. What else can I tell you? They have 3 fingers on their arms to help them rip apart meat. Obviously virtual reality meat in this case, but it has a tail, it has a large skull, it has big teeth.
Yes.
So and I think they used to live particularly in Portugal for some reason. I'm not quite sure why.
Well, the weather's beautiful there, so I understand.
Yeah, and they also lived in North America, so you might find that we can get you one that they're actually still quite big. They are bigger than a person, so although not as big as a T-Rex, they are bigger than you. So, I think we could work around it.
I think all 3 of your choices are bigger than me.
Yes, the most complete skeleton of an Allosaurus was found at Canyon City, Colorado. So at least they come from they come from your neighborhood. Who are the dinosaurs in your neighborhood? But they used to weigh 4 tons. So and they are 8.5 meters. Well, that's their length. So I thought maybe I'd ask you to. So out of some of the other ones I have, maybe you'd like to hear some more. What about, I'll read a few of them and you tell me what you'd like to hear more about.
Okay.
Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, Gigantosaurus, Iguanodon, Spinosaurus, Stegosaurus, we're going to leave the T-Rex because I just think it's impractical even in a virtual reality form. Triceratops, Velociraptors. I think there are others, but that's probably enough for now.
Mm-hmm.
Which would you like to hear more about?
Let's go for the Iguanodon.
Oh, yes. I'm definitely curious about that Gigantosaurus. Maybe we look at that one afterwards. So, Iguanodon. The one I cannot pronounce, of course.
That's okay.
Iguanodon. It says, that's how you pronounce it. Iguanodon? Iguanodon.
Yep.
If you say it fast enough, it gets there. The meaning of its name is iguana tooth. They lived in the early Cretaceous period, so a little bit on from the Allosaurus. It was a herbivore, which might be more practical, even in a virtual way.
Sure.
They're 39 feet long, 12 meters long. They weighed up to 3.5 tons, which is about as much as a van, apparently. So a little bit lighter than the Allosaurus. But I guess it depends if they were on a diet or, what time of year it was, how big a tree they'd eaten recently. So what else can I tell you? They lived 126 to 125 million years ago in the early Cretaceous period. You said some of that. Iguanodon had a really long little finger, which it used to gather food.
Okay.
Their thumbs had spikes on top to help them stab food. So I guess they could do a nice sort of vegetarian kebab on the end of their thumb, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Their teeth would be replaced throughout their lives to help them chew tough plants. It doesn't say whether that was involving a dentist or whether that just naturally occurred. But they did also use their thumb spike to protect themselves against predators. Obviously, there is plenty of drawings of how they're supposed to look. So before you you don't have to rush to make your decision. But you can have a look at what they look like. Apparently, although they are considered the ornithopod dinosaurs, they're bird-like. They walk on 2 feet, but they can also walk on all fours. But their arms were 25% shorter than their legs. Where did they live? They lived in Europe, in Africa, and in America.
They were all over the place.
Yes. Apparently they lived in England and Belgium and on the Isle of Wight.
Oh.
The Isle of Wight is I know that is the home of the Yeti. That's where they come from. So I don't know. I think the Yeti must have come later. But
I'm guessing so.
They're still bigger than a person, though. So that's another one to consider. We'll look at just one more. That we'll have to pass you back to Paul.
Let's do the Giganosaurus one.
Yes, let's do that. Gigantosaurus. Here we go. Oh, it's one of the biggest. I guess we should guess that from the name.
No surprise with that name.
Yes. It's a massive dinosaur. It was a meat eater. It was also from the Cretaceous period. So a little bit, after that Allosaurus, around the same time, maybe as, I think it's even later than the Iguanodon. It's the sort of second half of the Cretaceous period. You pronounce the name I think we just better pronouncing it as we were. Giganotosaurus. No, I think we just pronounced it as we were doing it.
That works.
The meaning of their name is giant southern lizard. They had very small brains and a little bit like it, Uncle John, it says here. Not listening. Their length was around 40 feet long, and they weighed up to 13 tons, almost 2 elephants. So yes, they don't, I guess, it only looks so small on the screen, the drawing. They lived about 97 million years ago in the late Cretaceous period. This was earlier than more well-known dinosaurs such as Triceratops or T-Rex. So, yes. So they're a little bit smaller still than the Spinosaurus, which we haven't discussed this time. But oh dear! Despite its size, it had a tiny brain. The brain is about the size of a small cucumber.
Oh my gosh!
Yes. Maybe like a pickle or something.
Not turnip shaped?
Yes. It is thought that these dinosaurs would have hunted large herbivores like the Titanosaur. I don't know about the Titanosaur. It would have had an excellent sense of smell. Its teeth were shorter and narrower than those of the T-Rex, but good for slicing flesh. Good grief.
Yum.
Now, for some reason, well, this is where they've been found. They found one in Patagonia in southern Argentina. So that's the only place that they've been sighted. Well, not sighted, found. So I'm sure they have been found other places. But the first fossils were found by an amateur fossil hunter called Ruben Carolini in 1993. I guess they mean of this particular dinosaur. It's strange to think that like whole new types of dinosaur were being found as late as that. It's like finding missing episodes of Doctor Who behind filing cabinets in Hong Kong or something.
Right.
Yes. So apparently their skulls would have been 6 foot in length, or over 6 foot in length. That's just their skull. So that's like, the size of a man. Their skull. Mm-hmm. Oh dear. But
well, the cucumber brain.
With a cucumber brain, yes. I will keep this site up. Paul is saying that maybe we can do one more at the end of the show.
Okay.
I'll hand you back to Paul.
Nice talking to you.
So anyway, yes. And sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. Jay, so you think about which dinosaur, and I'll make you. And maybe later in 2022, we can. I will develop it, and we will present it to you live on the show. So,
that sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine. Yes, my pleasure. Yes. Well, Jay, that's a lovely gift.
Yeah.
I've seen some of Cromitty's virtual reality work, and I believe he's pretty good at it. And I believe he wasn't actually on the team, but he gave some suggestions to the people working on the avatars. So if you see one of them, if one of the avatars looks a little bit dinosaur-y, you'll know that's that was the one that was talking to Cromity. Some good news.
Yeah, what's going on?
We've got somebody else to come and join the show. Toppy's here.
Oh, cool.
Toppy, come in.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
What's going on?
Oh, we've just been doing a special J episode, but it's okay for you to be in it as well.
All right.
Yeah, he got to meet some dinosaurs. Well, he got to choose a dinosaur. He's going to have a virtual reality dinosaur as a pet, aren't you, Jay?
Yes.
You just got to decide. Yeah, Cromity's doing it.
Oh dear.
Very excited. He'll be fine.
All right.
I'm sure he'll be fine.
I hope Jay doesn't have to feed it.
Maybe virtual reality food, but
okay. Because I heard that costs a lot.
I've got a game I want to play with you both. It's about monsters. It's sort of like, not exactly Russian roulette monsters, because I think it's a 50-50 thing. But I'm going to ask you to choose numbers between 1 to 24, and it'll be random as to what number you pick, whether you pick a naughty, nasty monster or a nice, kind monster or creature. So yes, it's 1 and 20, between 1 and 24. Who would like to go first?
You can go ahead, Toppy, since you're just joining us.
All right. Let's do 12.
Let's see. You got a nice creature. It's an elf. I think it's a Christmas elf. Although elves can be a little bit. They can sort of swing on if they're feeling nice, they can be nice with.
They can be mischievous. Some are nice. Is this an elf I can just put on my shelf?
I think you probably can. Yeah, I don't think it's vampiric. There's no fangs as far as I can tell.
Okay.
So you're okay. Your choice hasn't devoured you. So
excellent.
So Jay, what number are you going to pick?
I will pick. Would you say it was through 24? I will pick 18.
Okay. Oh dear. You've got the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. These are very Christmassy. I know it's a bit after Christmas now, but I think these are very wintry creatures. But you've got the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, and he says he's naughty. The most daunting of the ghosts, he resembles the Grim Reaper in a hooded cloak, only showing a hand which points to the future.
No.
I wanted the big burly bearded one. Which one was he? Was he past? He was past.
I think he might be Chris. Well, in the picture, I think Christmas Present is looks a bit.
Okay.
Gordon the Crypt Keeper, though, he's a bit like the Grim Reaper, and he's lovely. So I think there's a little bit of a misconception about some of these baddies. Just because you dress like the Grim Reaper doesn't mean to say that you wouldn't be nice. It's just Gordon's not able to give you a big hug because you'd probably disintegrate. But
he probably didn't choose the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. It's it's difficult. Toppy, choose another number. Let's see if you can keep your record of picking nice.
All right.
Nice winter
Let's go with 5.
Let's see, what have we got? 5. Ooh. Well, apparently you've got an Italian or Russian sort of wintry creature thing, but it's called La Befana or La Befana, also known as babushka in Russia.
Babushka.
La Befana is a gentle old witch. She travels the world on a broomstick, leaving cookies in children's houses. But in the Kate Bush song, babushka's a bit more violent than that, I think. So yeah. Again, I'm not sure she's as nice as she makes out. But.
Well, listen. If cookies and milk are, I'm fine with that.
But how much? That was something you wore, but I guess not.
Well, it is. It's like a scarf over the head, that kind of thing.
Where is she going to keep all these cookies on her broomstick? It's not like it's the best. It's not like the best sort of mode of transport for carrying luggage.
She puts them in her babushka. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to have any now. Jay,
yes.
What number would you like now?
3.
Oh. I don't know what this says about you, Jay, but you've chosen another naughty one. Naughty, or it says that they're from Iceland. They're called the Yule Lads. There's 13 of them. They are the sons of Gryla. Now, I think Gryla is another one of the options. I think I better find out who Gryla is.
Oh, I kind of know who they are. They were in an episode of Sabrina, I believe.
Oh, well, Gryla is a giant troll who leaves her cave dwellings to kidnap and feast on the naughty children who haven't obeyed their parents. So they're the sons of Gryla. So I guess they're...
I just ran across... Is Gryla... seen as a gigantic cat that eats the kids that don't have fresh clothes for Christmas Day.
Well, not here. She's not, but she might be able to shape change.
Matt Game just posted something, and I know he used the word Gryler. Anyway,
her sons, they're known for being pranksters. They're each identified by their own stunt. For example, spoon licker or window peeper. So, dear Jay, you keep picking the naughty ones.
Let's say something.
I'll let you choose one more each, and then I might just read a couple that, if you haven't picked them, that I want to mention. So, Toppy, choose another number, please.
11.
Toppy, you've chosen another nice one. You've got Frosty the Snowman. With a corncob pipe and a button nose, Frosty the Snowman has the ability to come to life. If it's cold enough, you may see him dance around.
Happy birthday!
The only trouble is when people make snowmen, but there's actually a corpse inside that people don't find out until after Christmas.
Right.
Not all snowmen are nice snowmen. Frosty is always nice, of course. There we go. One more from you, Jay.
24.
Oh, you picked a nice one. I don't believe it.
Oh.
You've got Santa. Originally known as St. Nicholas, the big man himself is renowned for bringing gifts to the nice children around the world every Christmas Eve. Yeah, we all know Santa's not that innocent. I wanted to mention there are a few more that are true, because originally I was looking for winter, like ghouls or ghosts, and this is the first thing that came up. So the ones we didn't pick were Rudolph. He's nice. The Grinch, who is both, because he's sometimes he kind of gets nice at the end.
It depends on how big his heart is.
Yeah. Then there's the Yule cat from Iceland, who's naughty. They live in the Yule cat lives in the household of Gryla and.
That's the one. Now, that cat eats children who didn't receive clean clothes for Christmas Day.
That's right. Yes. So this giant cat feasts on anyone unless they've received new clothes for Christmas. Yeah.
So basically, poor kids are already in a bad spot, but then they got to be eaten because they can't get new clothes.
Yeah, what's that all about?
Wow.
That's definitely something the Tories have instigated. It just sounds like Boris Johnson's plans. Oh yes, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. Next up we've got the Lutins from Normandy. They're a sort of hobgoblin. They are sort of both, and they can go either way. There's another nice one called the Tom 10 from Scandinavia. That's a sort of gnome, a sort of protector. I think I may actually have one. I may have one sitting on my sitting over there. Or it certainly looks like it. We have another one which looks nasty but is actually nice, called the Belsnickel from Germany.
Oh yes, I know Belsnickel.
Yeah.
I have not heard of it.
He warns the naughty children to behave and rewards the good ones with sweets. This is like a couple of weeks before, so I don't know if that infers that by sort of warning the naughty children they may have time to repent and become good. But of course we have the Krampus, who is naughty, half goat, half demon. Santa's evil counterpart. What else have we got? Mrs. Claus. She's the real power behind Santa, probably.
Yeah. She's the fattener of people.
Yes.
Yeah, she's nice.
So, are there just regular like elves, like garden variety, like toy shop elves, or no?
There are elves on the list, but I think they're the ones that Toppy picked earlier. I don't think there's any other types. There's Frau Perchta from Austria, who's a gruesome witch who doles out both rewards and brutal punishments during the 12 days of Christmas. And also Jack Frost, who is a sprite-like character. Ghost of Christmas Past, who is nice, and the Ghost of Christmas Present, who is nice. There's a zombie horse called Mary Lwyd.
Oh, my.
From Wales, who I've never heard of. A zombie horse who rises from the dead every New Year's Eve to remind the living of their existence and even try and get into their house. Well, that's not practical. We had donkeys in our flat, and that really wasn't practical. Zombie horses, no. When donkeys,
a little large.
Yeah, donkeys. At least our donkeys were well behaved. But then there's three nice ones. There's the Who's from Whoville. They're the Grinch. The Yule Goat from Sweden. The god Thor apparently rode a chariot led by two goats.
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, and then there's Dead Moroz from Russia, who sounds scary but is the Slavic equivalent to Santa. He wears a blue fur coat. I think I'd quite like to see a blue fur coat. That'd be quite nice. And then the Snow Maiden. She's nice. She's the granddaughter of Dead Moroz. And she wears blue robes and a furry hat. I think there was more nice people on this list than there was naughty, but
I just got all the naughty ones.
I expect nothing less. Anyway, well, thank you, Toppy, for joining us. I think we have something else for Jay to be involved in, so I'm going to have to take him away, but we'll all speak again soon.
All right. Toodaloo, Paul.
Yes,
Toodaloo, Jay.
Bye for now. Come on, Jay, we have to go somewhere. This way.
Okay.
two more things to cover this episode. One of them, listeners, this is something that happened a little bit earlier. Jay knows about this. So you know what's coming now, Jay. Poor Jay's going to take ages to get over this. So listeners, you know how Yeti Uncle John is very busy taking photos and trying to make this into a new career. It's quite early in this process, but he asked Jay if Jay could be a model for him, and Jay agreed. But little did he know what was being a model for Yeti Uncle John was going to involve. It's not the glamorous world of modelling that you
surprise.
Hope. Yeah. Well, Jay, thank you for being here. Yes, I have done a few of these before, but I'm just trying out my hand, as it were. If you could just strike a natural pose, please.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very good. Yes, very nice. Maybe just turn around a little bit. Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. And maybe there's some mud on the floor. If you like, just pick it up and sort of hold it in your hand.
Okay.
Yeah, and now maybe perhaps just smear it for your hair. Oh, you haven't got much hair, but for your beard. For your beard. Yeah.
Okay, if that's what you're looking for, sure.
Oh, yeah. It's sort of caveman. Yeah.
Kind of gross. Go ahead.
Yeah, there are people out there who like this sort of thing. The only work I'm getting at the moment is Caveman Weekly. So I know he doesn't. He seems a bit strange, but I did try and get Bettina Dupre to take part as a cave woman, like a matriarch cave woman.
And she agreed?
She wasn't having any of it, which is why I thought of you instead. But maybe just sort of strike a pose. I'm running out of what else is it that photographers say? There's a fur thing there. If you just like to slip that on, like a then you'll be like a proper caveman.
Okay.
Yes.
Where did this mud come from, anyway?
Mud? Oh, I just found it outside the house. I think it's mud, but maybe grab that club, and look all like a angry caveman.
I can do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite realistic. You look like you're really cross. But
I wonder why.
Maybe. I wonder if Property's made your virtual reality dinosaur yet. No, that's probably too soon. Yes. There's strike a pose again. Yeah. There must be some other things you can say. Pull a face, like an angry face, and even angrier.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, you do know you're not being paid. Even angrier. That's right. That's better. Yeah. Now, whilst you're there, I've got some comics that you might be interested in. Very old copies of Wonder Woman where she's blue. Are you interested? No. Oh dear.
Those are pretty rare, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Just going to go and back in a minute. Just stay. Putting you on.
Just like this?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'll back in a minute.
Okay.
Oh dear. I haven't got any film in this camera. I'll wait till he finds out. I think I better run. I better go. Just stay there. I'll be back in a minute.
Sure.
Dear, oh dear. So, I'm really sorry, Jay. It's very embarrassing. Whole, there's no way that you should have come all the way over to the Shy Life podcast to dress as a caveman, just because that's the only work that he can get is taking photos for Caveman Weekly, for goodness sake.
Well, you have to know that when you agree to something with Yeti Uncle John, you just never quite know what you're going to get.
Well, yes.
So, it could have been worse, I suppose.
But not much. I'm just really sorry about that. And the fact he didn't have any film in his camera, it's just
oh my God,
just very embarrassed for him, but and slightly embarrassed for you. But anyway,
well, at least I know nobody will see them then.
Yes, yeah. Well, no, that's one good thing. Although, it appeared on only on audio, of course, and right. Listeners, for listeners who didn't know about this development, yes, Yeti Uncle John's latest big thing, and this photo session took place technically when he was still in Shame Jail. It was something where poor old Jay had to go to Shame Jail to dress as a caveman because they wouldn't let him out. They wouldn't let Yeti Uncle John out. It was part of career development for Yeti Uncle John. So yes,
it's much nicer in Shame Jail than I expected.
Yes, it is very nice. They always seem to be playing computer games. As I was, listeners, if you didn't realize, it is Yeti Uncle John's new latest big thing, and when he's out and about, after episode 500, then I'm sure we'll hear a lot more of him taking photos of people. But this I think was one of his first sessions, and I really hope that the experience isn't repeated. And
I was going to say, I hope that he does a better job next time.
Yes, I hope so. Now, Jay, we're coming to the end of the show, but first I need to share with the listeners this great development with your spider son, Aragog.
Yes.
Now, listeners, this has only come to light quite recently, but Aragog has a really highly developed general knowledge. Now, it's very, very difficult because his voice is very, very quiet, but we're going to do a 10-question general knowledge quiz, and I'm going to read the questions, and then Aragog is going to whisper the answer in Jay's ear, and Jay will say the answer, and I will confirm whether it's right or not. But I mean, this is something we'd like to go into more depth. I'm going to go for general knowledge, and I'm going to go for hard.
Oh wow! Right out of the gate, huh?
Yeah, I think he's up to it. I think he's that good.
Okay.
The only problem is some of these things, it's the pronunciations that I have. So we're going to go. We're going to go for these 10 questions, listeners. You're going to be really, you thought Yeti Uncle John was clever sometimes when he does quizzes. I mean, that's the only time he is ever clever sometimes. But Aragog, you're going to be really impressed. How many spiders know this much? So Jay and Aragog, are you ready?
I think we are. Yeah. Let's do it.
So question 1: in medicine, chromatopsia is the term for abnormally coloured what? Aragog, if you'd like to whisper the answer in Jay's ear. So, Aragog, what is the answer, Jay? What does he say?
He's telling me he believes it's vision.
He is right. Well done, Aragog. So that's very good. So, question 2: bump, hook, neck shot, and wraps are all terms used in which sport? Aragog, what is the answer?
Really? You think so? Okay. He says it's polo.
Well, he would be right. Yes, that's right.
Wow.
don't suppose Aragog's ever played a game of polo, but does not say he doesn't take it.
I don't even know if he's ever watched a game of polo.
No. Question 3. Rivella is a soft drink which originated in which European country? Aragog. Rivella is a soft drink which originated in which European country? Aragog, what's the answer?
Okay. Switzerland.
Absolutely right. 3 out of 3. Doing really well, Aragog. Question 4. In which year was the maximum speed limit of 70 miles per hour introduced in the UK? Aragog, which year do you think it was? Jay, what does he think?
He says it's 1965.
Spot on, 1965. That's the answer.
Wow.
Okay. Question 5. Lucky Man is a 2003 autobiography by which US actor? Aragog, what do you say?
Oh, he says he's read this one. He said it's Michael J. Fox.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Question 6. Which English county was represented by the 9 children of honour at the coronation of King Henry VIII? Aragog. Which English county was represented by the 9 children of honour at the coronation of King Henry VIII?
He's thinking about this one. He's not sure.
Difficult, this one.
All right, yeah, let's go for that. He's guessing it might be Cornwall.
Yep, well done. Very good.
Oh. Nice job.
So, question 7. In animals, an onychetomy onychetomy is the removal of which part of the body? What do you think, Aragog?
He says, and he hopes it never happens to him, claws.
Yeah, he would be right. Question 8. Which Nazi war criminal was officially charged with war crimes in February 1983? Aragog.
Klaus Barbie.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, well done. 2 more questions. Exanthophobia is the irrational fear of which colour? Aragog. Sorry for not reading that properly.
I've got to wait till he stops laughing at your pronunciation.
I'm sorry.
Yellow.
Yellow's right, yes. So, last question. Can you get 10 out of 10, Aragog? Question 10. The 1998 autobiography, The Devil Rides Out, is by which UK comedian and television presenter? Aragog, what is it? What's the answer? Can you get it right?
He's not 100% sure, but he's guessing Paul O'Grady.
Yep, well done. 10 out of 10.
That's crazy.
Listeners, I told you. Last year we had, in 2021, we had Ryan going to space and being very good in quizzes, but I think Aragog is a rival to Ryan. I think we'll be seeing Aragog at a few more quiz leagues in the upcoming months. But,
well, clearly Aragog has a bigger brain than Giganosaurus.
Yes. Which is weird considering he's not even the size of a cucumber.
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't think about it too much.
Yeah, comparative.
Hello again, listeners. It is myself, Cuthbert the Robot. I just wanted to let you know that the next 20 minutes of the show is a bit of a chat about the 2021 series of Doctor Who, which was entitled Flux, with 1 or 2 spoilers maybe if you've not yet seen it. Paul also mentions recent seasons of American Horror Story and The Walking Dead, as well as Worlds Beyond, one of the spin-off series. If these shows are not to your taste, or you're worried about spoilers, then jump on about 20 minutes as there is more fun Jay and Paul stuff before our show concludes. Apologies for bothering you. Happy listening! Exclamation.
So you mentioned Doctor Who at the start. Have you been watching the most recent? What's it called? Flux. Funny word, Flex.
Yes.
That's the bodybuilder version. But how far have you got? You've seen the song?
Yeah, I am a half an hour into the finale, the last episode. Fortunately, I couldn't quite squeeze in to get to finish the whole thing before we chatted, but so I apologize for that. But I'm through most of it, and I've already seen an advertisement for the because BBC America had. Oh my! I just had to forward through a whole bunch of commercials. I'm watching it on my phone through the local cable or whatever you want to call it app, but because it's on my DVR, but I just saw a commercial for the New Year's Day episode. Yeah. So
Daleks again. I think we've had Daleks every New Year's Day for that.
Oh God.
But, not sure about the New Year's Day one because it's all supposed to be like romantic as well. But maybe it won't be too romantic. Hopefully the Daleks will get in the way and make sure that they all get obliterated.
The problem is they can, sometimes they'll show an assistant companion or whatever, and then you're like, oh well, I guess they made it through the Flux thing because I haven't seen the end yet.
Yeah, they also did that a few times in Flux with they do a cliffhanger and somebody was in peril and they show you that character. I just think they don't need to show you that character in the coming up next week. If they've shown a character in peril, that you shouldn't get to know what happens. I'm sure it's a 50-minute program. I'm sure they can. When whoever is compiling the coming up next week could have chosen clips that did not involve the character you've just seen supposedly about to die.
I think maybe some of the issue is, especially in the UK, I would guess that Doctor Who is such an institution that people follow the news of it and stuff online so much that they already know way ahead of time whether an actor or actress is leaving the program and who's coming and who's going. And so maybe it's not as much of a surprise, except for the younger people that don't pay attention to it. I don't know.
I suppose I'm still thinking from the point of view of, people coming to it in 5 years' time or something when it's old news, but it's still new news. It's like me watching 40-year-old episodes of Sons and Daughters, but episodes I don't know what happens.
Right.
And I don't know if characters live or die because I know they're not in it at the end of the show, but I don't know what happened to their character.
Yep.
You mentioned the Sontarans. You can kind of see why they do it, but they never used to do that sort of Sontar thing. I don't really like that. What I don't mind this time round is that I didn't like them when they were really, really short in the Tennant era. Because they were never that short in the original series. I mean, the Sontarans, although they're sort of in the top 5 or so recurring monsters of Doctor Who, only appeared 4 times in the classic series, once with Pertwee, twice with Baker, and once with Colin Baker and Patrick Troughton. So they 4 times is a lot. Is still enough for you to be one of the most recurring monsters, but they were never that short as they were in the Tennant era in the original series. And in fact, in the 2 Doctors, the Colin Baker one, they were surprisingly tall, too tall. But they seem to be sort of about right height in Flux. Riding horses and things. And
I don't remember the name. What was the name of the duo that was helping the Doctor back? One was a Silurian. I think she was a Silurian, wasn't she? The scientist.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I can't.
And the Sontaran was her assistant, but I can't remember what his name was. But I can't remember what height. If he was like the same height as she was, or if he was a short one.
Yeah, I think they were still, because that was sort of either Matt Smith or Capaldi era. I think they probably were a bit. I mean, they have sort of made them at times sort of comedy villains as well as. There's certainly more comedy than there ever was involving them than there ever was with them originally. But I don't necessarily mind that because it kind of takes the mickey out of the sort of alpha male side to their characters, or the sort of so I don't mind that. Have you got to the scene where they end up in a sweet shop yet?
No, actually, I think is that the one that's like the corner shop?
Yeah.
I think they're just about to do that when I stop watching.
I won't. So that almost goes too far, but I won't.
Okay.
But I think it just about sets.
Yeah, because there's times when they almost back in probably during the Tennant era where they were almost sort of like the Three Stooges wearing metal helmets. You know.
Yeah. There was that scene in one of the episode where they were having the war with where the lady was running the like the hospital, and there was a quite funny sort of bit of banter between, because they're so confident about how they're going to win, even if they statistically they probably not won half as many times as their competence would suggest. But what would you say were the highlights of what you've seen so far?
The first episode, I remember finishing it and thinking that was a lot shoehorned into that episode. Like, I guess because they were setting it up for a whole, a mini series. So the first one, I was kind of like, I mean, Doctor Who is one of those shows that, like, even a quote unquote bad Doctor Who is still better than most TV shows. Yeah. But I was a little overwhelmed after the first one, but things started finally ironing out and stuff. But I would say, even though I loved, when Blink first came out, it was amazing. Like, everybody raved about that episode, even though the Doctor was barely in it. And the Weeping Angels were so cool and everything. Then they sort of got overused a bit, or it felt that way. Yeah. So I was a little leery when they brought them back here, but that was actually the episode, which I think was the third one. I think the second one was the Sontaran one.
Yeah.
And the third one was the Weeping Angel one. That one is where things started to coalesce a little bit more for me. So I am wondering, now I did not look at the credits, but I get the feeling that the alien who infiltrates UNIT with the streak of gray hair and his black hair, he looks to me almost like the same actor that's also playing the main baddie, the one that's got all the makeup and the I don't know, the jewels and stuff in his face.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know if it's the same person or not, but they almost seem like they're like it's the same actor underneath. But I haven't looked to see if that's really the case or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This, well, I can't say, but I mean, I know what you mean. I do quite like those baddies. They are sort of quite eye catching.
They're interesting, yeah, for sure. That looks like it took a lot of time to make.
Yeah. It's funny what you say about the Weeping Angels, because I went back and checked, and they haven't had a story for quite a long time. But it just feels, it's a bit like the Sontarans. Feels like they've been more recently, but it's sort of. I have a feeling it's almost like 10 years since the Weeping Angels last had a story, but it feels. I'm trying to think if there was another one, but I know the last one with Amy and Rory was so you're going back to Matt Smith.
Yeah,
there was another one since. Or the thing is, what they tend to do is often, like, you might just have a Weeping Angel or you might have I'm sure they haven't, like, they've got an Ood, and we haven't seen Oods for a long time, but we have seen Oods we have seen Oods like in the story they were first in, but then we've seen them in different contexts and different,
or in the background or something where they're not really the main.
So it feels like they've been. So whether we have had an angel, I quite appreciated the fact that they didn't have to. That you could have just a Dalek passing by,
yes,
or a Cyberman. You didn't have to have, but it didn't have to be about. Didn't have to be about them, or they didn't have to have a massive part, or because it was. I like the fact that you didn't have to rush to fill it in 45 minutes, and it felt like, and it didn't. Even though it is sort of the same story, it wasn't like a 6-part old style Doctor Who story where it is clearly just all set in the same location. It did feel much bigger than that.
Yeah.
It was a nice halfway between the two.
I really like the idea of a. I guess I have to say spoilers in case somebody hasn't watched it by now at this point or something. But by the time this comes out, But the idea of like an angel hiding inside of a human mind, I thought was pretty clever.
Yeah, I'd kind of forgotten because I had been jumping back ages ago. I decided I was going to kind of watch it all again from the start, and I got to the end of Tennant and kept thinking, oh, yeah, I'll do it next week, or it needs to be right to the right time, and of course never really got there. So in fact, what I've been doing is just watching them completely out of order, just ones I fancy, and then kind of thinking, oh well, maybe I'll watch this one. So I probably will watch what I don't. I had this conversation with Nick before now. That I don't. The idea of watching something in order sometimes freaks me out. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like you're committing yourself to a massive watch, and I don't really want to do that. I even if I do watch it all, I'd rather do it my way, and even if that means I'm watching it backwards or jumping backwards and forwards, and then
right. It'd be different if you were watching it for the first time, but since you've already seen it at least once, you know that you're not gonna, know, anything they might refer to that might happen before or after, you're gonna know, kind of have an idea what it was.
It's like rewatching Dark Shadows. The idea of starting from the beginning just seems so much, but when I do watch some episodes, I usually just jump into a particular era and watch a few episodes. And, but anyway, so I think I'd watched one of Matt Smith's early ones with the angels, and the lady kind of has a bit of dust in her eye, and I'm glad I sort of seen that just before I saw it again, because that was along the same lines, and I think I might have forgotten that they had done. I was kind of like, I know what's going on. Or,
I don't remember that either.
That's the thing. It's quite a long time ago now. And if you're a lot of New Who, I've only seen the once, not because I didn't like it, just because I think I wasn't in the right place to be rewatching it. The early episodes, when it was new. Yeah. I probably watched the Christopher Eccleston season a lot more than I've watched anything else, because at the time it was kind of such a big novelty that it was back.
I'm kind of the same way. I would say the majority of them I've only seen the one time. I do have the Eccleston, and I think the first two seasons of Tennant on DVD. So I've definitely watched all of Eccleston again. I've definitely watched at least the first season of Tennant again, because I remember getting at least into the Marthas, who actually was my favorite Tennant companion.
Yeah.
But I did not finish her season, so I have not rewatched anything after that a second time.
Yeah, I've probably watched the odd one or two, and this year I'm thinking of watching at Christmas, as there is no listeners. I'm not quite sure if this episode's coming up before or after Christmas, but apologies for the timey-wiminess of the recording. I was thinking, because there's no Doctor Who on Christmas Day, I might watch two Christmas specials that I really can remember very little about. One being the Snowman, which is an early Clara one, where she's not playing Clara, she's playing. Because I think when Clara first came to him, she kept getting killed off, and then she.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I think this is the second one where she, and I think it's got the Great Intelligence, but no Yeti. And then I thought I might watch the other one where they're on a Last Christmas or something, where they're on a base, but I can't remember that much about it. But those are two I can't really remember much. So that they will be good ones to kind of maybe watch on Christmas Day if I want something sort of Doctor Who-y. But
now, do you own them all, or do you have access to them through a service or something?
I do own them all, and I also have access. Well, the BBC iPlayer, I think, has them all on there at the moment. So at least the new, not the old show, but the new stuff. So I can just dip into there. I don't have to go and find the DVDs. So.
I also started recently watching. I think it's the Macra Terror. The redone one in the animation.
Yeah. Since that one, there's been at least one or two. I can't remember which order they came out in, because there was the Fury from the Deep, which was another Patrick Troughton one, and then very recently Evil of the Daleks.
No, I'm wrong. Fury from the Deep's the one I just started. The macro one, that's the one with like the crab-like creatures, right? No, I finished that one. I started Fury of the Deep. I feel like there's another one on there now called, and maybe it's on my DVR, but so I don't know whether it's an old one or not. There's something called the Faceless Ones.
Yeah, that's another one.
So that's on my DVR as well.
Yeah, so many Patrick Troughton ones have been animated recently.
That's cool.
Yeah, the Faceless ones. It depends what you get access to, but the Faceless ones that goes straight into Evil of the Daleks. So. In fact, it finishes off at an airport, and then the first episode of Evil of the Daleks, they're at an airport. They're at the same airport. So, if you're able to have them both lined up, then you better just follow straight through. But and they've also just released Galaxy 4, which is the first William Hartnell animation that they've done.
Nice.
I watched about half of it, but it's not necessarily my most favourite story. Some of the animations definitely improve. It's one of those ones where like they're on a planet where the women are in control and the men are just sort of slaves.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, you've seen that sort of story on Star Trek and all sorts of places.
Right.
So it just feels a bit, even though at the time it was probably quite forward, you still get the male companion kind of like, what, you're in control sort of thing. So it is a bit dated. But it is one of those things where the animation probably improves on what would have been there on the screen, in the same way as the crab in Macroterra was awful from what you can tell from photos, but on the animation looks really good.
It looks really cool.
Yeah. So I think
they did a great job with the ones I've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, Fury from the Deep is another one where the main monster is like a seaweed monster, and I think probably is improved by being animated. Certainly towards the end, they're able to make it look quite cinematic, which I can't imagine it would have looked half as good on the actual BBC.
No. Yeah, the stories actually are quite similar in the plot if you just kind of took out the monster itself.
Yeah.
The Macroterror and the Fury from the Deep, they're not that far apart in plot. You got the angry guy who's in charge of whatever that doesn't listen.
And the Macroterror, I think, is probably better at being 4 parts than Fury from the Deep. I can't remember if it's 6 or 7, but it does feel like by the end it's kind of, oh dear. Evil of the Daleks is a bit the same. There were a couple of padding episodes in the middle.
Yeah.
I think we may need to move on. We can always come back and talk about Doctor Who again another time. But I just wanted, because you made me think, talking about episodes or series with padded episodes. I've just been watching the recent seasons of American Horror Story, which is a show that I sometimes love and sometimes hate. And when I hate it, it's usually because of that reason, where they've had to pad it, or there's just too many episodes and they haven't got the plot. And I think this season they've got around it by doing something called double feature. So they've got 10 episodes, but the first story is 6 parts and the second story is 4 parts. The first one is sort of a bit vampire-y, but not traditional. And the second one is sort of alien, Roswellish sort of thing, but again, doing their own thing. And I didn't find that it outstayed its welcome. And I've also been watching American Horror Stories, which is like an anthology show. And although the first story was much more connected, it was set in the house from the first season, and it was a 2-parter, so it did seem longer. I've just seen one which was set at a drive-in and reminds me a bit of one of those Italian films like Demons, which was set in a cinema.
Yes.
And it's sort of about a cursed film, like a film which was shown once and pretty much everybody died or went crazy watching it.
There was a Masters of Horror like that. Cigarette Burns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've kind of enjoyed those. I've also been watching. I know you're the same. Like I used to be like Walking Dead, and then I got bored of it. Quite a few seasons in, 6 or 7 seasons in. And I did watch Fear the Walking Dead and quite enjoyed that, and just sort of slipped because it was hard to kind of track down the episodes. But I watched, and I just finished watching they did another spin-off called Worlds Beyond, and it was just a 2-season sort of 10 episode. Was it even 8? But anyway, they weren't long seasons, and it was sort of a standalone series. The first series they were, because it was more younger characters, and it was sort of 10 years along the line. So the first series was still very much sort of them coping almost like a typical Walking Dead early season. And then the second season was a lot more to do with the people that had caused some of the things, and it wasn't so much out and about. But I did quite enjoy it because I knew it wasn't going to go on and on. I probably would have watched more of it, which is a good way to sort of feel about a show, that you would have watched more if there was more. I have access to the Disney Channel at the moment because we were going to do it just for a month. We were actually doing it because there was a Beatles documentary on there, which was the only way of watching it. And we're both Beatles fans. Thought we'd do it for a month, but we've actually been quite impressed by what's on there because that's where the most recent American Horror Story seasons were, and I noticed that all of Walking Dead is on there. So I'm tempted, if I'm really bored over Christmas, I might dip back in where I dipped out and watch some more of the later seasons. Again, I think that was partly it wasn't always easy to catch an episode, or I'd sort of set it to record and then find it hadn't worked, so I'd end up missing episodes. So I might go back to Walking Dead and watch it, but it'll have to change because I know I got very fed up of the setup with all the different factions and
the Negan thing just got to be too much for me. I finished through All Out War, which is where they sort of settled that whole conflict, but then when I realized they were going to keep the character on, I was kind of like, I don't know if I can watch any more of him.
Yeah, I think around the point that I've forgotten all the characters' names, but Andrew Lincoln's son died. I think.
Yes, Carl.
Yeah, I think that's Carl.
Yeah.
I think that's where I dipped out, but I can't quite remember. So I'm trying to, in the minute, work out whether I'm going to start at the season before I know he dies in that season. But I'm thinking, do you need to put yourself through all of that? You could get to the point that you got bored of it and get bored of it again before you get to the new stuff. So maybe you should just dip in. I don't really want to dip in mid-season, but I suppose I'd just do that. I'll see how it goes. Because I think that's like season 8. That means there's season 9 and season 10, and season 11 is what they're doing now. And I think they're going to. That's where it's going to finish later, or next year, or in 2022. So yeah, I've got quite a bit to catch up, and they're quite long seasons. So I don't really need to give myself more than I need to. Well, Jay, thank you very much for all you've done this episode.
Sure.
We have got a couple of other things coming up after the end titles, but listeners, thanks for listening. I'm sure we'll have Jay back soon. There's a lot to be thinking about. A lot of virtual reality dinosaurs. Maybe Yeti Uncle John will get you back for a photo session. A more glamorous one, maybe. But he's had a bit more practice.
Right.
But anyway,
I'd like to see his portfolio first.
Yes, as the actress said to the bishop. Anyway, thanks again, and we will see you again soon.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye, listeners. Extra material.
Or as Toppy would say, bonus material.
Yeah. No. So I've got a couple more words for you. This is the one I was worried about how to pronounce. Ulotrichous. 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 If somebody is ulotrichous, do they have woolly or very curly hair, know how to ride a unicycle, or often bother neighbours?
The first one, the curly hair.
Yeah, the definitions were the other two definitions were a bit silly. Yes, it is have woolly or very curly hair. Knows how to ride a unicycle. It turns out there probably is a word for that. But,
probably.
Yeah.
Besides unicyclist.
Yes. Okay. So another one. If something is ramiferous, does it A, have branches, B, eat sheep, or C, get ravenously hungry with ease? So if you're ramiferous, do you have branches, eat sheep, or are you Shayeti? No.
And you did say eat sheep and not eat cheap, right?
Eat sheep.
Okay. I gotcha. I'm going to say branches.
Yes. Again, those last two. Well, I guess you could be ravenously hungry, but eat sheep. I mean, that's so specific.
That's a very specific diet.
Let me see if I can find one that isn't quite as silly to finish with.
Well, also there's like coniferous and all those, and so it sounded tree related.
Yeah.
So.
Let's try this one. What is a gabelle? Is it a tax originating from a tax on salt in France? A small button, such as those used to hold epaulets? Or is it a small reindeer-like creature?
Can you spell it?
Yes, Gabelle.
I'm going to say it's the second one, the buttons.
Small button.
Yeah.
It's actually the tax originated, the salt tax in France.
Oh, okay. I didn't think it was the animal because I had never heard of that. Not that I know every animal there is, but that did ring a bell.
Yeah. Well, there you go. 3 more words. Hopefully, you can use that in polite.
Especially that last one. I'm sure that would come up all the time.
At dinner parties and things.
Yeah.
Into polite conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I gotta go now. Bye. Gotta go. Bye.
Goodbye.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
Oh dear. What's going on now? Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Let's go.
I have a voice. I have a voice.
You have a voice.
You have a voice. We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
So we're going to do another dinosaur. Did you want to look at what sort of dinosaur? We got that Spinosaurus, who's bigger than the Gigantosaurus, or did you want to go for something like a Diplodocus or a Triceratops, or what was your choice? What would you like?
Let's do, because I don't think it's quite, well, Spinosaurus. I think Spinosaurus became popular because of the third Jurassic Park movie. Let's do Diplodocus.
Okay. So they're plant eaters. They graze in large herds, the same as Triceratops. You are right. I don't know why. I'm sure, it's Diplodocus, but I'm sure we used to pronounce it Diplodocus when we were...
Yeah, we did. As kids, you probably did.
By the way, I apologize that I'm doing this, not Cromitty, because Cromitty is busy making dinosaurs for you.
Oh, he's a busy man.
He's busy. Sorry about yes. The meaning of their name is double-beamed lizard. They lived at the end of the Jurassic period. Now, how does the Jurassic... I know we have talked about the Jurassic period. It's the one before the Cretaceous period.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Although it looks like they kind of go over into the... They're like... Yeah, they sort of... They hung around. They are the longest known dinosaur. Up to 27 meters, 88 feet. They weighed about 12 tons, as much as a large truck. So you wouldn't want to use them to deliver your shopping.
Probably take a while to get there.
Yeah. They lived about 154 to 150 million years ago in the late Jurassic period. This was about the same time as the Stegosaurus dinosaur and the Allosaurus. They have very powerful back legs. Its body was balanced by a long, heavy tail, often used as a weapon against attackers. What's that one with a long tail that has a spiny thing at the end? That's
Ankylosaurus has like a club at the end.
Oh, yeah.
And Stegosaurus has spikes on its tail.
Yeah. Their size would have also been a deterrent to predators. It was thought that the tail dragged along as it walked, but no drag marks had been found beside fossilized footprints.
Mm.
They had a very small head compared to the size of its body. Would have had a very small brain. Scientists now think that it would not have been able to lift its head much higher than its body, so a lot of the earlier drawings of this dinosaur with its head at tree level would be wrong.
That's interesting, yeah. That's definitely an ever-evolving science. Like, they're constantly finding out stuff.
Yeah. Would have eaten trees, bushes, cycads, ginkgos, and ferns, and had peg-like teeth. They've been found in North America. Yeah. Well, there we go.
Cool.
They're not the heaviest dinosaur. The Brachiosaurus, that weighed 30 tons. So that's like twice the heaviness. So like two big trucks.
Yeah.
So there we go. Well, don't rush to make a decision. I think Comity's working on the science, and you could even invent your own dinosaur, like a mixture of all your favourite bits. But but it's up to you to decide. So.
Right. That sounds good.
Yeesh, I hope that Coyote bathed today. That's all I can say.
Now that one was funny.
Now there's one bit, Jay, that we missed off the list, and I don't know if we've got time to do it, but Yeti Uncle John's very interested. Now you suggested that one of the things we could do was something called 7 Steps from Heaven.
7 minutes in heaven.
7 minutes in heaven.
Yeah.
Is that something that Yeti Uncle John can be released upon, or is it just too much trouble for this time?
That's up to you.
I'm just worried.
That's up to the wardens.
I'm just worried. He's here. You can have him for a few minutes and see what you come up with. But if Uncle John Jay's here, he wants to get his own back. I mean, he wants to speak to you. Oh yes, what's this 7 minutes in heaven? I could do with that. What?
Yeah, you never heard of that before?
No, I never heard of that before.
It's a party game.
Yeah. Do I have to do? Do I get prizes?
What's that?
Do I get a prize?
In a manner of speaking.
Okay. What do I have to do?
You have to go with me into this closet for 7 minutes.
Okay. Yes. It's very dark in here.
It is. That's the idea.
Oh, you're tickling me. Stop it.
Wait, what is that?
It's my chains. My ball and chain. Chain jail. I promise. Oh, stop it.
Sure you want me to stop it?
Oh, no, stop it. Oh, dear. This is
you're not looking at your watch now, are you?
No. I have more than 7 minutes, please.
I can spare a little more time.
What is going on in there? What is going on in there? Oh,
we're discussing philosophy.
Redecorating.
Yes, that too.
This is the end of the show. We're stopping it now. Stop it. Paul, what's going on over here? Oh dear. It's time to go, listeners. This all-out war. Oh dear. I can't believe it. What is going on?
Maybe I should get going.
Oh, just another 5 minutes. It's Yaku John, stop it.
Tommy.
You get it banned. I can't believe it.
Oh, when I listen to the Shy Life podcast, it makes me want to bake pies all day long. I don't know why. Oh my God, there's nothing I like better is when another new episode of the Shy Life podcast comes out.
497.
Paul?
Yes.
Are you still there?
I was just chewing something, so I went on quiet.
And the cheese come out?
Cheese came out, yeah.